About the box office, and yesterday I asked a question: Will Moana 2 hit $1 billion? Does it have enough money to make? And also, will Mufasa or Lion King break even? And all the other questions as well. And Sonic 3 finally broke even this week. Well, yeah, Mufasa the Lion King, which has made $476 million globally at this current moment. For some reason, I don't understand how Disney's able. Which I know he said that when the first Lion King remake came out, but how is Disney able to somehow have these extremely great comebacks to the movies? Elemental and Mufasa or Lion King. Like, this movie's literally, unlike Elemental, which was created from the heart, this is really a soulless corporate cash grab, but it seems that the people want to see more of this. That is the problem, which means they can make it see more live action Lion King remakes. I really don't understand why, people really want this stuff so badly, but even it is still a huge fall from the original movie, comparing it to the original Lion King remake. We saw, the first Lion King remake made $1 billion internationally. Okay. The first Lion King made $1 billion internationally. This movie's international take is only $300 million at this current moment. It is doing very well internationally, but newer movies are going to be coming out in theaters that are going to take away its theaters internationally. Okay, there's going to be newer movies coming out throughout the month, that are going to take away this movie's box office potential internationally as well. So, also, this movie is still underperforming the original Lion King remake by a lot. We can look at the weekend comparison. The original Lion King remake made $48 million. This one made $23 million as well. It is starting to close the gap between this and the original Lion King remake, but I think this movie is going to gross less than the Lion King remake did as well. Considering that newer movies are going to come out, take away feeders from this movie, and other holdovers like Wicked and others as well, I think this movie will probably make more money than I probably expected. But now we're getting to the, big drop-offs that this movie is probably going to have to suffer as well. Okay. As kids are starting to go back to school as of Monday in many areas, and unless the theory about this movie is true that it's mostly Disney adults watching this movie because of still the Lion King, is still going to go see it, because I don't know of many kids that are going to want to see this movie. Now that's just a fact, okay? I think it's the same thing with Wicked 2 as well. I think Wicked is a lot of older people going to see the movie. A lot of older people who, are not kids going to see this movie. Of course, the older people need to go see these movies so kids can go see this movie, but a lot of non-families are going to go see movies like Mufasa and Wicked, okay? As well. But the Mufasa, the Lion King, Disney should be happy as this movie is about to break even. And unless you use other metrics like 3 times the budget, then this movie is still screwed, as this movie needs like $600 million just to break even as well. So, fortunately for Paramount Pictures, Sonic 3 has broken even. Yes, Sonic 3 has officially entered the break even and is now starting to make money for Paramount Studios as well. So this movie has made a lot of money, but not really doing too well internationally like Wicked, okay? And, unlike Lion King, which the first movie had a huge international appeal, well, this movie isn't really doing too well internationally. It's doing very well in the UK, Australia, obviously. It's doing very well in Mexico. But not outside of those countries. Like, it's doing very well in many of the Latin American countries like Panama, Peru, Colombia as well. But outside of those markets, and it has not yet to release in China, Philippines, and Turkey. Those are the last 3 markets it has yet to release in. As it's basically now releasing in almost all the major markets. It's released in Brazil, Argentina. Well, it's probably make a lot of money in those countries as well. And it's going to probably make a lot of money in Korea. And I think that's it for international releases for this movie. as well. So Sonic 3. Here, next is Nostarifu, which, yes, this movie is going to make back its money at the box office. You know, this movie is going to make back its money at the box office, making $69 million as of now. This movie needs to make $125 million to break even. It has splashed its international release out, where this movie has made $100 million with its international release. It has released in most countries, with the exception of Poland and Thailand. Okay, but outside of those markets, this movie has basically released in the international numbers for that movie. And now let's talk about Moana 2, Arrow Road. Yeah, I really hate doing these sometimes because sometimes this site takes forever to load. But Moana 2 will likely reach $1 billion. It only needs $40 million more to reach $1 billion as well. It's apparently doing still well internationally, as well. But again, the post-Christmas numbers are going to come in, and we'll see if this movie has like a huge drop-off like it was having throughout December. But Disney should be happy this movie is going to hit $1 billion at the end of its box office run. Maybe barely like Jurassic World Dominion did. Does this movie have any international box office left? Not really. No real markets left to release it as well, but it is doing very well in many markets. It's doing. I think it's gonna make a couple more tens of millions in Japan. It's gonna make a few more in France, UK, and stuff, and Australia as well. But a lot of people said this movie was a huge box office disappointment. This movie is doing very well at the box office. Wrong use of words, but yeah, I don't use scripts for my videos, so yeah. But this movie was a disappointment, like critically, and it wasn't as great as the original Moana because Disney rushed this out. But this movie was gonna make $1 billion regardless because of the holidays as well, saving this movie. Because I think if it was not released on the holidays, the movie would have flopped. Then we have Wicked, which is still releasing in theaters. The movie has made another $10 million on its 7th weekend, making $450 million at the box office. So in its 7th weekend, it still made $10 million. Obviously, it's because it actually gained theaters as well. But this is another movie that's going to start losing theaters. There's going to be newer movies coming out as well. It is going to make $700 million globally, which again is very big for this movie as well. But this movie has become a huge success for Universal, as well. So Universal has had this huge success at the box office. And then we have Disney's big flop of the holiday season, A Complete Unknown. If you do not know, Disney owns Searchlight Pictures, which was originally owned by Fox. But this movie is a huge box office flop, a huge failure at the box office, okay? No one really, they really think this actor is like this huge thing, that this guy makes, billion-dollar grossing movies, when really the franchise is the reason why the Wonka and Dune were so successful. Not because of the actor, okay? It's because of the franchise. We all know that those movies are successful because of the franchise, not the actor, okay? Most people don't see movies for actors anymore, and really this movie, it is really a complete unknown to everybody, and no one is watching this movie, And apparently, according to the top 10s, this is, Bob Dylan's the greatest songwriter ever in history, But I have never heard a single song by him before. It's supposedly the greatest songwriter of all. I think I heard one song by him, but I know one song by him, but off the top of my head, but I haven't heard any of his songs. They don't play any of his songs anywhere, but he's supposedly the greatest songwriter of all time. Yeah, typical old people stuff, oh, this is the greatest of all time, the greatest year in music, or blah blah blah. Really, And so then you have Baby Girl, which is based by A24. I've not looked for the budget for this movie, but this movie is doing well for an indie movie, obviously because A24 makes indie movies as well for in because yeah, this is an indie movie, and A24 usually makes indie movies, which they usually perform around this number. So it's doing pretty well for an indie movie. So there's Gladiator 2. This movie is still in the weekend here. And compared to Wicked, this movie isn't really doing too well compared to Wicked. It's the This movie is gonna be kicked out of theaters long before Mufasa and Sonic are kicked out of theaters, because this movie isn't really making that much money anymore as well. But it did do pretty okay throughout the holidays here. But once the holidays were over, this movie has started to have huge drops and kicked out of the theaters very quickly as well. But this movie is a huge, massive failure for Paramount Pictures. Unlike Sonic 3, it is Paramount's huge failure, which they sort of warned. Hollywood should warn to not spend $300 million hours on a R-rated movie sequel. Okay, next is Homestead. $17 million for this movie. This movie is only doing okay at the box office, but I think they were expecting this movie to be more successful. Okay, this is Angel Studios' new movie as well, but they were another indie studio, so they're not like they had the one hit wonders so far, but those so far a one hit wonder studio. The Fire Inside by Amazon as well. This movie isn't doing too well. This movie is doing very poorly at the box office as well. This movie had a very, very poor opening, and Amazon's probably the same to this movie at this point. This movie's going to be kicked out of theaters relatively quickly in its third weekend as well. So then we have Kraven the Hunter, which is still in theaters. Another movie that's going to probably be kicked out of most of its theaters in the coming weeks. So yeah, I don't think Mufasa is going to be losing a lot of its theaters, or Sonic, or even Wicked, or Moana 2. I think the movies that will be affected the most are the movies at the end of the totem pole, like Kraven, The Fire Inside, Homestead, Gladiator 2, and maybe Baby Girl, but that's an indie movie. Because there's a tons of movies releasing next week as well. You know, there is Better Man, was expanding wide, Hard Shoes is expanding wide, The Last Soul Girls is expanding wide, Game Changer, and Den of Thieves 2. Okay. And a week later, we have Wolfman releasing September 5 is expanding wide, and One of Them Days by Sony Pictures as well. Yeah. And the week afterwards, we have Flight Risk finally getting its release, and Dogman, so, and Companion as well, here as well. So, yeah. There you go, about the box office, and goodbye.